The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stage Door Show tonight. This is Dave Hondel. You're listening to us on iHeartRadio and anywhere you get your podcasts, really. I mean, we're everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Google, you name it. And I have with me Tom Kline down in Florida, Leesburg, Florida, and obviously a regular co-host of mine with the Stage Door Show. But Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be back. It's been a little bit of time, and good to be back on your show, the podcast, and good to be back in the theater, man.
I know. I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, it's starting to come back, little signs of life, and out there in the theater is part of that. And, honestly, looking at the season of Melon Patch, Theater where you are right now, Played Against Sam, your new play that you're directing. I mean, this is like part of the 70th season of that theater. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, the theater, and then tell us about the new play, Played Against Sam, that you have going on this weekend.
Yeah, the theater itself is a very cool theater. It's been here for, like you say, 70 years. I wasn't here when it started. It holds 200 and some people. It's community theater, but it's a wonderful place, located pretty much in the downtown area in Leesburg. They get great support from the city, and they put on some really good shows. And again, we had pandemic for a year that kind of put everything on hold, but we're back now, baby.
And I was going to say real quick before we get into the play, I wanted to also mention to everybody listening out there, being that people are starting to travel now, and a lot of people are going down to the Central Florida area to go to Disney, Universal. Leesburg isn't that far away from Disney. In fact, I would say it's within an hour. Or even less, so it's a nice little side trip if you're going to Disney. I mean, this is a great little side trip, and you're not going to find better community theater than you will in Central Florida, and especially the Lake County area where Leesburg is, and Melon Patch Theatre being its 70th season. It's a 70th season for a reason, and there's a lot of good shows there. And again, one of those great shows is Played Against Sam, which you're directing, Tom. So let's talk a little bit about the storyline of Played Against Sam, because I know it was a film in 1972, but before that, it was actually a play on Broadway. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was, if I'm not mistaken, Woody Allen's first play that he had on Broadway, and I think it ran for a year, did very well, and it kind of was where Woody Allen got his start. He started in a magazine, but this was the play that really kind of took him up another level. And like a lot of his stuff, it's very autobiographical. He starred in the lead role of Allan Felix, who was a nebbish film critic, whose wife has just left him, and he's completely distraught about it and trying to figure out how to move on. And his best friend, Dick, and Dick's wife, Linda, are the two who kind of come by, and it kind of falls on Linda to help him. They keep setting him up in dates that go horribly wrong and are very funny in their horribly wrongness. And at the same time, being a big fan of Humphrey Bogart movies, the Woody Allen character has the ghost of Humphrey Bogart comes in to give him dating advice throughout the show. And with me are Shelly Whittle, a very good friend of mine and a very good actor who plays Humphrey Bogart in the play. Say hi.
Good evening.
And playing the Diane Keaton role, which is Linda Christie, the friend's wife who's helping him get set up, is Nicole Neubaur.
Hello.
And playing the Woody Allen role of Allan Felix and killing it, and all these guys are killing it, but Dexter Fortune is playing Allan Felix.
Hello.
And that's basically I don't want to give away anything about what happens in the show, but it's very funny. These guys are nailing all the jokes. And it's sweet and romantic, too. Whimsical, very sort of nostalgic with the whole Humphrey Bogart. The thing is set in, 1970, and we really stay with that time period. And I'm going to ask real quick, go around with each one of them. What do you like about your character, and what have you found in the character? I'm going to start on my right. Nicole, talk about Linda and your feeling on playing Linda and just being in this show.
Well, I feel like Linda is really neurotic and also like pretty insecure, and I like playing her because she's really like closed in, and then after a while from meeting Allan, it kind of like brings her out so that she kind of discovers more of like what she's been wanting because she's not getting it from her husband. And that's what I really like, because I get to like start all closed off, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, now I'm coming out. Now I get to be more of like who I want to be, and then at the end I figure it out and all that stuff. So I really like that.
Well, plus you get to do in his imagination, there are several scenes where he imagines what's going on. Once it's kind of good with Linda, once it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
So you get to play multiple sides of Linda.
Yeah, I get to play like where I'm super into him, and I'm just like falling into him, and then I get to play where I'm like, oh my gosh, please get away from me, I don't like this at all. And then I get to play like, was it from Casablanca?
The scene there.
Yeah, that scene where I get really serious with him, and we just get really like exaggerative with it, and I get to bring out a gun and stuff, which is super fun. So yeah, a
lot of different characters in the thing where that's concerned. And let me go next to Shelly, who plays Bogey. And you were the first person I thought of for Bogey, by the way. There was nearly no doubt. So how do you feel about playing Bogey?
Bogey is, I mean, for a guy my age, which is like 65 or so, and, I mean, Bogey was a hero. When we were growing up, those black and white films, and, film noir, you love that kind of a character. So to get to be Bogey, to be, tough on the women and tougher on the guys, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and you do that very well in the show. And Dexter, I have been so thrilled with your Woody, and you're not imitating Woody Allen, but you are completely got the character. You've made it your own, and yet it's completely like Woody, but without being Woody. So talk about your whole process with this thing.
Well, and that was a decision I made, like, right at the beginning was, do I want to do, like, the Woody Allen impression where I'm very neurotic all the time, or do I want to be, like, more like me? And I think just the latter was the better choice, because I didn't want to be a parody throughout the entire show. The thing that shocked me the minute I understood what the show was is how close to me the character was, because I was always a dork when it came to women, and I'm a huge movie guy, that this just seemed like a no-brainer.
Well, yes, you were playing yourself.
Exactly.
But you've nailed every line. You've got every nuance with this thing down. And I can't wait for Friday when we open, man. So, that's the three I got here, Dave.
Tom, let me ask the group this question, because, being it's a 70s film and you had to kind of play that time frame, I guess, because I know Shelly and yourself and, directing it, I know you're very familiar with that time frame and so forth, but, for the younger cast, how much research, I guess, went into that time frame and that era to make sure that, because every era has their own kind of nuances when it comes to, the way people talk and the way people maybe act a little bit, but how much research went into that time area to make sure that it was believable?
Let me jump in real fast and say the first thing I made them do is watch the original movie. Yeah. For that very reason. It was a different time, and they all kind of watched it and absorbed it, I thought. Yeah. But yeah, you guys tell, what were your thoughts once you saw the movie? And I don't think for you it was really a matter of time frame. It was a character thing.
Yeah, it was a character thing for me. And then also watching Casablanca helped.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we all, I didn't make them, but we all watched Casablanca. I went and got the movie because I needed it for the play.
Should have borrowed my copy.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, you got a different copy?
Yeah, I had my own copy that I had her borrow, and I was just like, oh, cool, I've always been plenty of time, so that'll be fun.
So that's the research we did, Dave.
Movies.
Well, and then Dexter, playing the Woody Allen character, I mean, watching the movie, was it hard to not kind of fall into that character that he played and kind of make it your own? Was it kind of hard to do that as you're going through the scenes?
I still managed to find something that was a little bit of me and a little bit of him at the same time.
And tell me how it feels, everyone, to be back on the stage again doing theater when, I mean, everybody's been, basically in their homes for a year. I mean, we go out and get groceries and different things, but I mean, just to be able to get out on the stage and act again, I mean, it's just got to be a thrilling moment for you all.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's been too long.
It's like getting set out of a cage that you've been pacing back and forth, and someone says, well, go out and take a walk. Oh, thank God. I'd never make it in prison, I can tell you that.
I wanted to ask Shelly, the Humphrey Bogart character, how close, I mean, do you try to mimic his voice? Because I know Humphrey Bogart has such a iconic sound, and when he talks, and I mean, how close did you get to that, or did you do what Dexter did and just kind of made it your own character?
Well, it's hard to say, sweetheart. Try to, get close. It depends on, what sort of thing you're doing, but take that. Don't get in my way again.
Yeah, he needs to be as close to Bogey. That is an imitation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make Bogey your own. You have to do Bogey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been super happy with all of them finding their characters in the way they have.
So talk about the excitement, I guess, surrounding the opening night coming up, and have you been getting any buzz around town? I mean, are you looking like to sell out this weekend, or how's that looking so far?
I don't think we'll sell out. We could only do half the capacity, and from what I've heard from the box office, it's really starting to sell well, and usually a straight play you don't sell out anyway. I mean, unless you're really lucky or you just have a lot of people that particularly like that one. This does have some name recognition, which is helpful, and I'm starting to have friends on Facebook ask me about it, and it's like one of those things where you hope that you just kind of catch lightning in a bottle and it catches on. And the hardest part in the beginning of the year at Melon Patch was, because the audience and the actors are wearing see-through masks. And to me, that's important because in order to act, you have to be able to see their facial features. You know what I mean? Doing it with the cloth mask on it's not the same. But the audience still has to sit through this with a mask on themselves. And I think people are getting more and more comfortable with that. But at the first show they did at the beginning of the year, I mean, people were afraid vaccines really weren't out there yet. I think as more and more people are getting vaccinated, the idea of going out and, having an evening out is more and more like, I want to go do that. And people are feeling safer. Our whole cast is almost completely vaccinated. We even tried to convince the board to let us do the show without masks on, and it was 5-4 against, but we're getting there in this world where I don't think it's going to be long before at least the actors on stage don't really, if you're vaccinated, you don't need a mask.
And how for the cast, I know Tom, you've been busy, writing and all that stuff and doing different things throughout the, COVID and doing, the documentary and so forth. But, for the cast, what have you all been doing during like the quarantine to kind of, I guess, keep brushed up on your acting, and, have any of you been doing anything online or any kind of Zoom type productions of any kind?
I did a show, actually, I guess it was February. I did Goodnight Gracie, which was a one-man show about George Burns. And that was probably the toughest thing I've ever done because, number one, it's a one-man show. But process of learning the lines and everything else when you don't have a cast with you is brutal. You're just talking to yourself constantly, and which isn't bad in a pandemic. But then my wife, left me, because I kept talking to myself constantly, and that made it a little bit rougher. But yeah, I've been looking at other shows and reading plays and some classic things that I miss taking part in, I guess, over the years. A View from a Bridge and things like that, they're classics, but I miss them.
Well, one thing too, you did this podcast when we were doing pandemic theater. If you remember, you and Brendan were the devil and Satan, and you guys were both arguing over whether or not Trump belonged in hell.
Yes, and I believe I lost that one.
You did,
yeah.
And you were God. You were God now. But how about for Dexter and Nicole? Have you guys, or was it just to hunker down for a year and pray it comes back, or did you have any opportunity?
Well, to a degree. I mean, I was only hunkered down for about 4 months before, because I work at Disney World, and they called me back pretty quickly. I've just kind of been there for the last so many months.
How much does that keep the creative? I mean, what do you do there?
Creative. I work in attractions at the People Mover.
That's what I thought.
In Tomorrowland.
So it's still, you're sort of performing with the customers.
Yeah.
And you, Nicole, are the manager of Five Guys.
Yeah.
Has that been pretty much your focus, or have you had a chance to do anything?
Well, that in school. I think the only thing I've actually been doing is keeping up with dance, and then also keeping up with music. But acting, I haven't done anything until this show.
But you were teaching dance, right?
Yes.
And then she's a choreographer. I've been trying to get that word out to the other people in the theater.
That's awesome.
That's what everybody's been doing.
I just want, before we end this, I want to go around and again, I'll start with Nicole. If there's any place in the world, Nicole, if there's one stage that you've wanted to step on and do a production of any kind, whether it's dance or whether it's theater, what would that stage be, and why would you pick that stage? Dream stage, anywhere.
Any stage in the world?
Any.
I would pick Broadway, because that's where I've always wanted to go, and I'd want to do Wicked. I love that show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Dexter.
Stage, I suppose any stage on Broadway as well. My production would have to be Next to Normal. That's my favorite show.
Good call on that one.
That's a good one.
Shelly.
That's kind of a hard question, actually. I'd love to be on Broadway. The show that I would like to do the most right now is Frost Nixon.
Ooh, good one.
It was a really good show that it lasted a few years on Broadway. It was well done. It doesn't have a large cast, but it's so poignant and
well, you and I lived through that time. So.
Yeah, right. And
I watched the movie during quarantine, actually.
Yeah, the movie's great too. Yeah,
loved it.
And I would say that would probably be the one, which is kind of odd, I think, because I normally like comedy the best. But
comedy's fun.
Yeah, comedy is fun.
Tom, let me ask you, as far as directing, I mean, what as far as directing a show, what stage would you like to, or theater that would you like to do something if you had to dream?
Honestly, for me, this came up the other day because I've written like 5-6 plays so far. I don't care what theater, and I don't care if I ever get published. To me, the entire thrill is watching something that I put down on paper come to life in front of me. Yeah. That is the closest thing to watching your child get born that I've ever experienced. And it's a feeling unlike any other feeling. And now that I've had it a few times, it's amazing, and I keep striving for it. And the hardest part is not writing a play that moves people. It's finding a venue to put it in. So I will take any venue. I will, if I get actors to do it on the radio, if I can get an actor to do it standing outside in the woods, wherever we can perform, if somebody's there to watch it, that's all that matters to me, really. And I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you and I started to get to know each other basically during your play, Lighter Side of Suicide at the Fringe Festival. So you're absolutely right. I mean, just the fact that, people were there and saw your work that you created. I mean, you're right. It's a spiritual experience for anybody who has ever done anything creative. You can understand that, but it's just an amazing feeling. So let's talk about Play It Again, Sam, as far as, when it's going to be. It looks like this is the first weekend. I know Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon, but $20 tickets for adults, $10 for students with ID. I know that you can go to melonpatchplayers.org and you can get tickets online. And then also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can call the box office as well. Is that right?
You can. It's 352-787-3013. And you can get tickets that way, but the better way is really to go online. And I'm off book on that. And here's a little thing for you too. The Friday nights and Saturday night shows have complimentary wine for the audience, which I just found out about. So another little plug.
Oh.
If you're out there, even if you don't like Woody Allen or you don't like plays, come for the wine.
That's right.
It's a good cheap drunk, and you might laugh at the show. Even more so with the wine in you. So.
Well, it runs 3 weekends. So starting here, May 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we have May 14th, 15th, and 16th, and then the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So the 23rd is your last performance. So again, 3 weekends. So again, if you guys are down in the Orlando area, if you're not from the Orlando area, make sure you take that side trip to Leesburg and go to Melon Patch Theatre. It's an amazing experience, and especially this is one of the classic plays out there. It was a classic movie, and you're not going to be disappointed. Obviously, from what we heard tonight, I would definitely, if I were down there, I'd be there. So definitely try to get down there, and go to melonpatchplayers.org for more information.
Yep, we end right before the Fringe Festival starts. So if you're a theater head, come check us out and get primed up for the Fringe Festival that's in downtown Orlando. And it's good. This is the first year since 2 years ago that we're having a Fringe. So theater's back.
Theater's back. Well, again, my co-host Tom Kline, thank you so much. He's directing this, and Nicole Neubaur, Dexter Fortune, and Shelly Whittle, thank you all for joining us tonight. And again, best of luck for your run, and great to see you back on the stage again. And you guys are welcome on the show at any time. So thanks again for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.